Hi everybody, welcome to this week's learning. This week is an exciting week wherein you are going to learn a very small tip which can make your entire process of instructional design of higher quality, and you can do it much faster and much confidence. The concept is very simple, but however it will be very useful when you are actually approaching real-time projects at work or as a freelancer. So let's dive in. Whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Okay, so just think about this statement very clearly. Whatever a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. On similar grounds, there's another statement which says, whatever your mind can observe and comprehend, you can do it. Based on these two things, we will look into the concept which we discussed, which is going to help you as an instructional designer, and we call it as dismantle the medium. So what exactly is the dismantle the medium? I just searched one particular commercial. However, it is kind of a commercial which even I like. So you can Google it out as Avenger commercial. I reduce the volume so that you can listen to it. So what you can see, what you can observe is what really is more important about this activity. Okay, and that's a wonderful commercial ad. You can search any commercial ads of your likings, or movies, documentaries, look into any things of those things. The purpose of what is dismantle the medium and how you can apply to these things are, it's very simple. You saw the ad, you should start appreciating what is the team behind it and how many people have put their effort and how in synergy it become a very good ad. So if you see that there is one model who is actually riding the vehicle, and it's a beautiful backdrop. There's a beautiful nature behind, and obviously the dressing is taken care of by somebody, and you can see between there is a script which goes on. He goes on saying that I forgive my past, I forgive my principal, I forgive the government, I forgive my barber. Okay, and finally he talks about the feeling, and he feels like God. So there is a script. Okay, there is a script, there is a shoot. So you can start looking into, and in between when he says about the statements, I forgive so and so, there is a little flashback wherein there is the inserts which we have put. Okay, so the director actually thinks about all these things, and he looks into these all different shots. He collates it with a meaningful expertise, and finally comes the ad. So look into this, the entire dismantling of the medium like this. Whenever you see the medium, you should start appreciating, okay, there is a cameraman who is a videographer, and there are so many angles of camera which he looks into, okay, to make a very interesting story, to retain the attention of the customers. And there is a concept for the ad which is written by a concept writer. There is a script written by the script writer. There is the voice of a voice artist which is definitely audible when it comes to that, whatever you can see. Okay, so there is a voice artist. There is a beautiful music which plays behind. Okay, and finally there is a starting of it and beginning of it, and you can see it's all in 1 minute. And in 1 minute of this, you can see so many of these things all in synergy to make a very good commercial ad. Okay. When it comes to e-learning, you will be dismantling the medium of the e-learning the same way, and you will be appreciating the different role of different professionals. Okay. So as in this commercial ad or a movie, what is the director's role is the kind of role what you are going to play in e-learning. You are the director for the e-learning. An instructional designer is the director of e-learning. The more you get accustomed to dismantling of the mediums, whether it's an ad or movie, what you watch, okay, it could be anything what you watch on TV, okay, or any product, valuable product which is delivered. If you start dismantling and how many things goes into it, immediately the way you look at certain things, certain finished products, and the way you look at it as an ordinary spectator is very different. Okay? The moment you start looking at it as a director or instructional designer, you'll start appreciating the work behind it, and a lot of creative juices also flow. Okay? So there are other advantages as well. When we look into, let me show you one e-learning module now. E-learning, all these links which are there in the we are given in the PDF what you can access, so there is no need to look into it. These are all clickable links. There are quite a few examples of e-learning. Let me take one small example. Okay. So this is done by NIH. So this so definitely it would have been outsourced to a particular instructional e-learning company, and instructional designer would have done it. There is 3 options. They're asking us to go ahead with text summary, or else start interactive tutorials at your own pace, or start a self-playing tutorial which plays by itself. So let's go with the start a self-playing tutorial.
The National Library of Medicine has made this video available to you to help
so
you understand
you can already listen to the voice. Okay. So once you look into this is how it works.
General medical information and
let's see where we can stop the audio. There is an audio over here.
If you have questions pertaining to your medical condition,
let's mute it. Let's mute it for a certain time so that we can explain this. So yeah, you can see this e-learning module. It's called as Plain Patient Education. There is a logo over here. This is your header, okay? And this is definitely uploaded into the internet, and what we call this as web-based training, or WBTs. So there are different topics. While coming to the arthritis patient education, there's an introduction, anatomy, what about arthritis, the symptoms, the causes, diagnosis, treatment, and summary. So the kind of the kind of sequence or the flow what is maintained is definitely done by my instructional designer, and these are called as frames. These are frames. The frames are what you can see at one instance. For example, slide 8 of 56. This is totally 56 frames. So every frame will have some kind of text, which we call it as on-screen text, and and there is a graphic with the information on it. It's usually called as infographic. Okay. And then you can go ahead and click on the particular aspects. We can embed a video into this, and how an information should be presented so that the learner learns best is something what you will be working on. So these are the instructions you give it to the content writers, the graphic artists, and when it comes to the other things, it could be multimedia as well. Okay, the audio artist there will be a voiceover. You are integrating that with so and so. Okay, and these are something commons, what we call it as commons. The commons are the headers. The header is common in all the slides. Agree with me? Okay, so these are called as commons, and you can see a little bit of footer wherein you can quit the learning anytime. You can add comments. There is a volumes button. There is a pause button, and other aspects of it. And there is a copyright information. This is also a common. These are the things which definitely change. And when a student starts, by the end of this, let's say that an arthritis patient or some of his family members will be going through this. So by the end of this, they should get a good idea about arthritis and what are the things they should be knowing. Okay. So this is based on the patient education when we look into how the e-learning done. Now look into this. You could have become an instructional designer who need to handle a project of this kind. You will be given a subject matter expert. There will be content writers for you, programmers, graphic artists, and everybody. Never get overwhelmed that you have to do everything. You plan this entire aspect. At this point of the course, you need not worry about it. It's much more simpler once you get into the later stages of the course. So all you have to understand at this particular moment is, oh, as an instructional designer, what am I creating? how are the other courses? Let me have a feel about it. That's exactly what you're doing in this week. And please go through the activities which we are given in this one. Okay, there are lots and lots of resources. The more the resources and the more the trainings, there are very different kind of approaches when it comes to e-learning education. You will find it in the links which we have provided. Spend good amount of time onto it and ensure that you start appreciating different roles of people, including the ID. It could be the graphic artist and all this. In each and every e-learning module, they come in their own approaches. The approach is decided by you, the instructional designer. An instructional designer is a person who actually creates a blueprint on which basis the entire content writing team, the graphic artists, the multimedia and the programmers start working and building onto it. You are very, very similar to an architect. If you look at a land and you are going to build something based on your blueprint, there are quite a few other professionals who start working and complete the building. In the same way, when it's an e-learning module, it's much more skillful. You need to ensure that the learning, especially the behavior aspects of the learner, is so good that once he completes so module, he will be able to achieve the intended knowledge or the intended application, or he should get the comprehension levels what is intended to be. Okay. Many of the e-learnings will be at the application level. We'll come to the ID theories and models in the next module, wherein you'll understand it much better. But in this module, spend ample time. The people who have spent more and more time about and appreciating how the other things work, usually the creative juices flow, and they will be very clear about what they are going to create. They begin always with the end in the mind, because they know how the end should look like and how it should start working. Remember, a good instructional designer creates a good quality learning. There are loads and loads of people throughout the world who will be learning about it. Okay. On the other side, very similar to some big budget movies which doesn't work or becomes a huge flop. No matter how much amount of revenue is there on your is allotted to your project, it doesn't matter if you don't plan. If the idea doesn't plan well, probably the team will fail. On the other hand, the team gets huge reputation when the ID does a good job. Okay. It's very similar to the director. Please go through quite a few, at least quite a few e-learning things, and get accustomed to that. There's no need to get overwhelmed by saying that is so creative and other aspect. You will have your teams to work with. Okay. But start appreciating and start enjoying how the e-learning works and what are the different approaches, and go ahead and look into the activities. There are a couple of activities which you need to complete. Look into those activities and give your best and express them. We'll look forward for your thought process and expression. This module will actually set certain things wherein it gives you a pure guidance of how the end product looks like and what are the different approaches we can look into. It helps you it makes you a result oriented instructional designer. No matter what, keep applying this mindset. Whenever the project is given to you, you should be seeing what exactly will be at the end of the course. You can see that because there's a self-running tutorial, it exited. That's a note which we'll sometimes give to the programmer. By saying that, I have shared quite a few modules with that. This Tony Carrer's blog, he has made a very good collection of e-learning. You can actually spend quite a lot of time on those things, okay, and complete those two activities, and we'd love to listen and listen of what your thoughts are and read your discussions and assignments. Okay. See you in the next activity, in the next module. Thank you very much. Ensure that you're enjoying your learning.